Denizens of the internet, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome to another round of Elo Hell's Get Good. This is the Advanced Division. I'm Big Hungry Phil. With me is, of course, Moxie, and we've got a match coming up between Diamond SR Forever and Exilia Invicta. Moxie, what have we got to look forward to here?
Well, if we're going on the preceding series, a five-mapper. We've had two series now that have gone down to that wire with 5 maps, and looking across these teams, I hope that we're going to be treated to more of the same.
Yeah, that's right, guys. If you think you've got, any inclination now to go and get a drink or make use of the facilities, now is the time to go, because these guys are not going to give you any room at all to leave the edge of your seat for any of those amenities. But this is not, if you're used to watching Overwatch League, Contenders, etc., this is not the very highest tier of Overwatch. So if you're looking for something a little bit different, a little bit away from those typical meta picks that we see right at the tippy tops, I think this is one of the times we're going to see that happen. This is teams that are likely to run something maybe a little bit different.
Well, we've seen an odd combination come out in the past couple of series.
Such a polite way of saying that.
It's your first cast day, isn't it, Phil?
It is. I've been doing some VOD reviews, so I'm not coming in completely cold.
So we've been seeing an awful lot of Bastion and an awful lot of Pharmacy, actually, and going into Lijiang Tower. I think it's not going to be a surprise if we're going to be seeing a little bit of the dogfights out in the air today.
This is quite right, of course. Certainly, Garden's just one of the classic Pharah maps out of all of the maps in the potential pool of Overwatch. And the slight mind games at the beginning of, do we think the enemy team is going to run a Pharah? Do we risk going over bridge and accidentally giving them a 6k for one key press? So a lot decided there on those spawn room mind games as to who has the better read on the opponent. And of course, this is not the first time these teams will have seen each other. Hopefully they will have some footage and some experience of each other, so maybe they have that read already coming into this match as to what they can expect coming out of their opponents.
Well, Diamond SR Forever definitely has more of a read on their opponents than most. Casting our eye along those team sheets, one detail sticks out in particular, and that is that impressive win-loss record, 13-0. These guys are coming into the final undefeated, and they're definitely not going to be looking to change that up anytime soon.
Well, I think that's the aim, isn't it? We'd really all like to win all games all the time. Of course, not always possible, and these are the two best teams in this division. So if we were ever going to see a loss handed over to our current 13-0 champions, this is where we would see it. And we are going to be starting over on Gardens. A little bit of prescience there from me, suggesting that might be where we started things. And we're potentially going to be seeing that Pharah dogfight that you suggested. Of course, neither team as yet giving us any indication, not in a position to do so, as to what they're going to be running.
Well, Pharah is such an advantage on open maps because she decides how the team fight happens. She decides where the engagement happens. She decides when the engagement happens. If you're happy with how your composition is set up, a well-timed concussive blast can just throw a spanner in the works, as well as your main tank into the drink of that moat going around the pagoda. But we're not actually seeing Pharah coming out in these team previews. Instead, it's gonna be Raph on this Symmetra with Laka on the Doomfist, Minivale the May, and Live on the Reaper.
Well, look, do you know what? I said we weren't going to be seeing anything particularly meta coming out from these teams, and I've been made to look an idiot already. As the foot hits the floor, we are going to be seeing Minivale over on the May. Gets an early freeze onto Alex. The capitalization from Live is good. Has to use the Ice Block to regain control of their health pool. Takes a little damage from the Doomfist, and it's going to be Laka getting the one over onto Minivale to start things up. The wall is now down. Minivale not there to refresh it. And that's an advantage for, in fact, nobody with an advantage at the minute. It's 5v5 on the point, and an incredibly early coalescence coming out from Zeptone. And we'll see Matzi coming up on theirs in the next couple of seconds. Neither team managing to find the upper hand just yet. We're looking for that one key pick. We get two instead. Laka and Alex, Diamond SR Forever, able to get an opening too. And this should be where we start to see this fight stabilized in favor of Diamond SR Forever.
Well, they're definitely looking to close this one out. The finishing pick onto Matsu should definitely cement that place, picking up the point first. It's not often that we see the Moira who coalescences last go down, but it is indeed one for the books that happens. And now it's going to be up to Ghostic to open things up with the Sigma Flux. Unfortunately, though, Saruman, she's gonna have that sound barrier to just negate all of that damage coming in.
It's pretty much, that's why you hold onto that sound barrier, is you know the Flux is on its way shortly. Well, there's the Flux. Laka not quite able to get out of it, but there is the sound barrier. Bouncing back up again with the Meteor Strike. The Holt not able to find too much, but in the meantime, Live will get one with the Death Blossom. Live now back on the field, looking to try and recharge that ultimate, trying to focus down Laka, acknowledging what a threat they are. Can't quite secure the kill. Another Death Blossom comes out. Looks like Raph was actually frozen out of that. Still on board with Live. Looking to find another target. Only a quarter of the way up to that Death Blossom so far. Minivale destroyed themselves. Found Zep turn, but that was all they managed to get as Diamond SR Forever continued to hold the point.
But they managed to pull out quite a lot of ultimates from Diamond Forever. You managed to get your supercharges, you managed to get the Death Blossom. Zeption's not going to have the Coalescence up, which means that Minivale is free to put in this Blizzard. And if you pair it with Randomizer's Bongos, that is going to be a world of pain for Diamonds Are Forever, because they're not going to have any support ultimates to try and bail out the damage.
It is, but Alex does have an option for some counterplay here. If we can get that Kinetic Grasp in line to absorb that Blizzard, it's going to be Minivale up into the air. Ice blocks out. Wall is down. Ice block is down. Blizzard on the floor. It connects. Alex and Raph, everybody going down. Randomizer managing to get two, and with a bit of help from the Supercharger, that is going to be a take for Exilia Invicta.
Well, Phil, it's coming up to December, so baby, it's cold outside. Minivale managing to get the flip off the back of that Blizzard, and now if your Diamonds Are Forever, you're trying to come into this with Coalescence, 94% on the clock, so you are feeling pretty good with yourself. You've got ultimates to try and get this point flip, and really all you're going to have to worry about is the Sigma Flux Death Blossom, but you don't want to get cocky. It's still going to
Speaking
hurt.
of which, there's the Gravitic Flux. Zepturn now with the Coalescence online as well, and it's going to be Laka with the double. Alex finding one as well. Zepturn doing a lot to keep their team up alive through that, and will also get the kill onto Live and a follow-up with the damage orb onto Slembu to wrap that team fight up, and that's going to be a flip back over 96% and climbing. Will we get a last-second contest from Exilia and Invicta?
Well, the Doomfist does manage to touch, and the Hammond is now rolling around, but just as quickly
demolished.
taken out.
Too little HP, too many enemy combatants on the field. This is an attempt at damage mitigation, but as they come in one by one into the face of Raph's Death Blossom, that is going to be it for our first map. That's the team kill. Klaxon to round things out. 134 for Diamond SR Forever.
But we're seeing how Diamond SR Forever managed to get such a dominating position on the board. If they've been coming in up against every single team that they've gone up against, like they opened on Lijiang, then yeah, it's gonna be an uphill battle for Exilia. But they did manage to win that team fight with the Blizzard, so there are cracks. They can still manage to pull this one around.
They absolutely can, but it seems like they're struggling a little bit at the minute in this mirror matchup, not just in the ult fight, but also just in the neutral. Diamond SR Forever seem like they've got such a good grasp of how their team comp works and how their synergies fit together.
They've definitely locked down all of the kind of combinations that you can use your abilities for. Pull, such a strong ability. Flux, such a strong ability. There's that pull. Not going to find anyone, but the Doomfist Laka goes straight in and straight back out.
Doesn't find anything, has to come back out again. We're looking for something with the punch. Baited nicely by the Wraithform, and it's going to be Ghostic getting the first kill here. Live now in the back looking for targets. Has spotted his counter. Coming back in with the Wraith form, not able to get away, and that's going to be Ghostic with a bit of help from Live, getting Dog Senpai. Everybody now from Diamond SR Forever just crumbling in the face of the aggression from Exilia Invicta, and it's their turn to ring that team kill bell.
Yeah, and now they're going to be making full use of Minivale on this mate. That's how you find your value on May on Control Center. You wall them off as they come through the choke. And we're seeing Diamond SR Forever going to group up, wait for the Lucio speed boost, but they just speed boost into their deaths.
That's a 3-3 split. Very difficult to pick that up. Bowling or Overwatch considered. Very nice hold from Exilia Invicta.
See, and now they can just sit pretty. They can build ultimates up. They can put one in as Diamond SR Forever try to come through this choke, or indeed they're gonna go for this wraparound, a little bit of a rotation here, trying to take the Mei wall off the table as an option for Exilia.
Well, they have managed to get most of the way through, but that's gonna be Dog Senpai trapped by the ice wall. Just managed to get out as well. The healing from the team, so good in keeping them alive, but now the Gravitic Flux coming out from Ghostic, gonna find nothing of value. Laka now with the Meteor Strike looking to at least get one pick, isn't able to find it. Live will have the Death Blossom ready to go, and Miniveil has already taken Laka off the field. Live with the Death Blossom's gonna find Zepter and Do Senpai. Raph able to get Live, but that's a one team fight already. Doesn't really matter if you lose your Reaper in the dying milliseconds of the fight.
No, because Reaper has the teleport, he can get back into the action so quickly. You don't even need to send the Lucio off on Fairy duty. Miniveil has this Blizzard, and even if Diamond's SR Forever don't want to come into it, Randomizer has the pull to just force them against their will into all of that damage. And again, this wall cuts off the team.
Well, may have walled almost everybody up, but it was only 5, and the Death Blossom and the Supercharger both onto the field. But Miniveil with the Blizzard is going to stop some of that aggression, but it looks like this is a team fight that is heavily going in Diamond SR Forever's favor, as they managed to, as we hit 95%, finally get a foothold on the point.
A foothold, but how long until that hook starts slipping away from them? They have a Sigma Flux, they have a Coalescence. Yes, those are powerful, but Slembu with the sound barrier means that Flux is just completely out of the conversation. It's left the chat, and Randomizer has the Superchargers, and we've seen how influential Superchargers can be on a team fight. You can win them off that one ultimate, and unfortunately, Diamond SR Forever with 96% on the board for Exilia, they can't afford to disengage.
That's right. In fact, out comes the Supercharger now. It's good for getting kills. It's good for resetting ult charge, but it's going to be Zepter finding Randomizer first in the fight. Ghostic getting bullied there. The Doomfist managing to punch them right out of the equation. Will now be closing in on the Gravitic Flux of their own, but it's going to be Matsi committing the Coalescence into the fight, and they're not even opting to reassess and reposition around it. Raph04 is going to find Live first in the fight. Alex able to get Miniveil here as well, and it does seem, even with the Supercharger and the sound barrier committed, that Exilia Invicta could not fight that fight.
Well, you saw almost immediately as soon as Randomizer Superchargers went down, it was taken out of the fight. There was so much focus on the side of Diamond SR Forever because they know exactly how impactful that can be. Doge Senpai now has an advantage because you're set up on point. You can set your Superchargers up out of line of sight, which means that it's going to be even harder for Exilia to try and take them out of the equation. Live does have this Death Blossom, but it's going to be really hard for this Reaper to find any way that he can get in without being noticed.
Especially considering Saruman has the sound barrier ready to go as well. Laka in and out quick as you like. Not able to find anything with it just yet, but they've managed to provide enough pressure to take us into basically last team fight territory. And with the Death Blossom and the Meteor Strike online ready to go, well, that's a very early sound barrier. Raph 404 right in the middle, going to be coming in with the Death Blossom. A lot of that eaten up by the Kinetic Grasp, but Laka able to get 2 with the Meteor Strike. The Blizzard on the field might just be too little too late. There's not a lot left, but Live is doing what they can to keep this, as it were, alive. Matsi now with the Coalescence, looking to find maybe one more target to stabilize here. And they've done it. They found a way to get the numbers advantage on the field. And as Rafo 404 gets taken down, it's going to be just Zepturn and the lonely Wrecking Ball of Doge Senpai, who has a lot of HP, but not enough to keep this going. Laka goes down, and the flip is on. We need to see a very quick contest from DSRF.
Oh, it's not quick enough, though!
The monkey jumped too short.
The monkey gets knocked just a little bit back, and even if the contest had come through, if you look at the ultimates, the tools that Exilia had at their disposal, they had a sound barrier, they had a flux. So the flux takes contest just gone. We've seen it, we call it the Sig 9. You get lifted off the point, and if you're not touching the point, you're not contesting. That's how Overwatch works. So Diamond SR Forever, they are going to be beaten back, and what looked like it was just going to be a whitewash is actually shaping up to be one heck of a fight. Phil, it's time to strap in. I think we're going all of the way.
We were talking about having seen 2 map 5s already today, and if this is the level of back and forth that we've got just on this one map, then we could absolutely be in for a map 5. And you know, it is possible we'll see more than 5 maps, but that's going to be a long, drawn-out affair. So let's not count those chickens until they're at least a little bit closer to hatching. And an aggressive position already from DSRF, taking control of the point. Wraith form now burnt for Raf 404 as he gets out of the midst of that fight, but the defensive position so early on here is great for Diamond SR Forever, and Saruman, great presence of mind, looking to boot that Reaper back out again, but Ghostic is able to pile in too much damage, and now with no support on the team for DSRF, it is going to be a lot harder for them to stabilize here. And as we see Slembo and Ghostic start to wrap up these final kills, it is going to be Exilia Invicta managing to drag this team fight out in their favor.
We're seeing a tale of 2 focus targets from both of these teams. Exilia are very much set on taking out Diamond SR Forever's backline, get the supports out, then collapse in on the tanks. Diamond SR Forever, they're actually going for the tanks first and then moving on to the supports when they're left behind. And unfortunately, that time around, it works out for Exilia, who've now been able to set up really aggressively, can just collapse in on Diamond SR Forever as they come through. Coalescence, but it doesn't need a coalescence if you can just get Lacquer's body to hit the floor.
That was just speculative. That was, I'm confident there's going to be somebody there, so I'm going to charge this right up to its full 1.4 second charge time and get a kill. Beautifully played by Minivale.
And now you've got the Sigma Flux, and you know Saruman is just too far away from the sound barrier, so they pop it now and don't let the Lucio get any chance to build that one up. Beautiful
nice
play.
And early Ghostic able to find Lacquer here, and again with Exilia Invicta just stuffing up the point like this. Diamond SR Forever are really struggling to get anything done right now.
But what they're doing is they're just going in very slowly, eco-pushing, building ultimates up, trying to get Exilia to put their cards out on the table so that when Diamond SR come in, they can just flip it all together. They're gonna have so much on their side. Surely they have to win this engagement.
Well, that's going to be one down very early on. We see Raf 404 in the back trying to equalize things. Minivale coming in with a Meteor Strike, not able to find anything with that or the right click. Lots of damage piled into that Reaper, but no kill. Raf 404 still on the field, causing trouble, causing damage. Lacquer's going to get Matsui there as well, but as we hit 80%, we'll find that there are no Exilia Invictas left to contest the point. And we have, well, no, do you know what? I called that way too early. Live on the point, very briefly, netted them an extra few seconds, but that makes it last fight territory for Exilia Invicta. They've got to win one more to get this map.
Yes, and that means that Diamond SR Forever cannot afford to lose a single fight after this. So Saruman has to hold on to this sound barrier, has to keep on holding on as Exilia come in so that they have that one to pull back to fall back onto. But Randomizer with the supercharger, Doja's just gonna pop it straight away.
Well, Lacquer finds the first pick there, of course, a boosted Doomfist right punch, very hard to survive. We do see Zepton taken out, a little bit aggressive on their positioning, but speaking of aggressive, Diamond SR Forever looked for a second that they were going to chase right the way back up to spawn, but no, play get a little bit more safe and for now.
Yeah, they think better of that one. Perhaps you shouldn't just press your face into your enemy's spawn ships, especially when your enemies have a lot more ultimates than you have currently. Live is trying to set this death box.
Oh, no! Hello, Rav! You have found my friend, and that is a big advantage. Live with the death pulse, he gets immediately stunned out of it. Lacquer able to get that with the right click. Lacquer also getting a second and a third. The coalescence on the field as well. The Doomfist for the side of Diamond SR Forever coming completely alive in that fight to help carry it in their favor.
If one DPS fails, the other shall pop off, as has been prophesized by Overwatch. And poor Exilia, they just could not do anything as they were hounded by Lacquer, who didn't even need to put the Meteor Strike in and will now have it. And as soon as Matsui pops that coalescence, such a juicy, vulnerable target up, no fade available when the Moira pops up. So vulnerable. Surely that's who you're going to try and land on.
This is going to be last fight territory. Both Gravitic Fluxes out. Slenbu and Saruman both pop the sound barrier. This is Q-Press for Q-Press in this fight, but it's going to be Lacquer with the opening pick and the second pick. Minivale able to find Zepton here as well. Not able to find a kill with the right click that time. Managed to find Minivale, though, just getting that cooldown back in time to secure their position back on the point. And that is going to be all over. Barber crying. for this first map. The Wrecking Ball contest on from Randomizer. Wow, ghosting back in on the Reinhardt. Just taps Laka with the hammer, knocks them out of the fight. Zep turn, and Alex still there to keep that going. Very well played by Exilia and Invicta, but Diamond SR Forever just able to sandpaper their way into a victory.
It was so close though, because we saw Exilia's Moira was up and alive, had been up and alive all through the contest. Even then, when the Reinhardt manages to get onto the point, the Moira only just goes down. And it would have been so much less close if Diamond SR Forever had focused the supports. Exilia, they've got this focus on Diamond SR Forever's supports, and almost immediately when anyone goes down on that team, it's either the Moira or the Lucio, and that's wonderful to see, because you want to try and cut your main vein of healing off from a team, because then it's so much easier to just decimate the tank line. And Diamond SR Forever, they're just not doing that, allowing the Moira to stay alive almost scuppered their chances of that point.
We're in a really weird position with the meta in Overwatch where you have these high pick potential heroes, either Doomfist with the basically one hit kill most of the time, Rocket Punch, or a Reaper if he gets right up under your nose and jams that Hellfire shotgun up in there. It's a guaranteed kill, but at the same time, you're relying on all of this big healing pool to keep these big meaty targets alive. So we're in this really strange position of war of attrition in the macro game, but also very important picks in the sort of second to second gameplay. And what you're saying about the target prioritization there for DSRF and for Exilia and Invicta, I think shows an increased level of understanding of how this game should be played from Diamond SR Forever.
This is why we were seeing the Doomfist and the Reaper so prevalent in the meta, because if you take the supports out of the fight, they've still got sustainability. Reaper has that self-heal. Doomfist gets the shielding when he manages to get the abilities off. That is how you could sometimes see all of the supports and tanks gone from a point, just cleared off, but the Doomfist and the Reaper just contesting for 20 seconds, 30 seconds until the team is able to come back. The cavalry returning for a second charge and managing to wipe off the assailants. Headed to Rialto though, so it's going to be really interesting to see whether or not these guys, they're going to stick with this Doomfist Reaper, or whether we're going to see something a little less in favor of the meta, but with a little bit more oomph in the damage department behind it.
So I think one of the things to consider here is that the control map is so chaotic. It's like pouring all of your ingredients into a big bowl, turning up the heat, stirring it, and hoping that you get some sort of edible soup at the end. And you can argue that both Diamond SR Forever and Exilia Invicta had something more or less palatable at the end of that. But for a map like Rialto, where you've got a moving payload, you have to be a bit more disciplined, a little more focused, then we're seeing sometimes you're going to have to follow more of a recipe, more of a game plan. And as we move into Rialto, where we're looking to see what kind of pasta our teams can make, that level of discipline and the target focus is going to be even more important to secure the victory.
Well, you talk of recipes, and looking at what Diamond SR Forever are showing us, it's definitely on the side of the mozzarella. Raph on this Bastion, Laka on the Farah. They're going to be looking to set up this really nice crossfire. But Exilia, they've read this like an absolute book. They're fielding exactly the same, and it's going to be up to both of these DPS to take each other out of the equation. This dogfight is definitely going to decide who has the advantage in the crossfires.
Ooh, Laka taking a couple of direct rockets there, and looks like they're struggling to actually land any hits on their opposite number. I think, I'm not quite sure what's happening with Live there. He's going for the wraparound behind them. The Baptiste Immortality field is up, but it's going to be Raph for a 4 with that high ground advantage, able to get 2 and then a 3rd. I loved where Live's head was at for that. It just didn't quite work out for them.
It would have worked out if, unlike Diamond SR Forever, who do the exact thing that Exilia should have done, they go for the Baptiste Immortality field, and then they go and kill Live. Live just keeps shooting on at Raph, and Laka managed to get Mini Veil, and poor Mercy has to float down into the drink and reset. And now Raph, he's got so much of this clear line of sight. Already there's a Mortality field being popped, so much damage being pumped by this Bastion.
And of course, I love what we're seeing from Raph here, just cycling between the sentry and turret forms, resetting the loading time as well. So we are going to see Raph 4 getting the first pick there. Laka takes direct rocket to the face, but he's coming up against a Farah, that does not currently have a pocket, still going to be getting out of there with the barrage now online, ready to play. Watch for some crafty positioning from this Farah, from either Farah, because both barrages are online now. Got to be careful. Alex has spotted the Mercy with the blaster out. Will secure the kill with a little help there from Laka as well. Exilia Invicta having a bit of a rethink about how they want to take this engagement.
They have to be so careful about how they come out, because if they come main, then they're just going to be met by a Bastion. And if they go for a side angle, Lacquer is going to spot it out immediately and look for the concussive blast. Almost gets it onto the Sigma, but it connects with the Farah instead. And these Farahs, they're probably just going to swap barrage just to try and get one out of the fight early. If you can pick the Pharmacy out, Rez is off the table.
Well, that's certainly one way of playing it, and Rapho 404 will not have the configuration tank. No need to use it just yet. We'll be going directly into the waiting shield. It's going to instead reposition, come around the outside. Knows they don't really have to engage just yet if they can help it. And now, with the supercharger on the table, they certainly have a big advantage. But whilst this chaos is going on, it is kills starting to rack up for Exilia Invicta. Alex over on the Sigma is going to go down, and Zepton does not have the room to get the res in. Instead, they're going to be relying on the Bastion and the Orisa, this beautiful turret combo, to try and get something done, but they're caught sleeping. They have to reposition away from that amplification matrix in order to stop that going. Minivale trades out 1-for-1 with Raph 404 going down to the barrage. The res is online to take Raph back into the fight, so this bunker still holding strong on the high ground for DSRF.
That was such an optimistic barrage right into the face of the enemy shield, and honestly what I want to see from Minivale now, off the Farah, I want to see a Sombra. There's one surefire way to break a bunker defense, and that is an EMP. And with 47 seconds, it's going to be a push, but surely you could build it at this level.
Well, you'd like to think so, but that's going to be another optimistic barrage out from Laka, but it is still kills starting to work out now for Diamond SR Forever, even having lost Laka here, who will be back into the fight relatively quickly. We are only in possession of configuration tank and supercharger. Well, we're almost at the amp matrix for Saruman, but for Exilia Invicta, this is starting to look very difficult to break.
Well, they have the superchargers though, and that means that the shield that Diamond SR Forever are hiding behind is going to go down like it is absolute paper. There it comes. Bongo's down, and Live is going to be doing so much damage.
Oh, hello, Live.
The amplification matrix, you don't want to be standing in that line of sight.
Straight into the immortality field. Saruman will get the parting blow with Live going down, but Saruman is not enough. Neither is Zepton. Both earning a badge for a kill on the back end of the fight on the support role, but that is going to be the payload rolling into point 2 in overtime.
And it's all off the back of that one superchargers. And now for the contest, they've got the amplification matrix. Again, so much damage coming through. Live, I think, doesn't even need to put in the tank mode. You can just hold that one on. But they're going down. Invest. The ultimate is invested.
Configuration tank form out, will find Rapho 404, but if you are Diamond SR Forever, this is probably really good for you, getting these ults out here and now, but they are actually still keeping this contest going, just cycling onto the point over and over and over again, trying to burn out even more resource. And in the course of that fight, they've generated the barrage and the supercharger, so this next fight is a potential easy win now for Diamond SR Forever.
I mean, if you lose it, you're definitely asking questions about why, because surely looking at that board, you do indeed have a massive advantage to hold over your opponent's head. And Exilia, they sense this. They're not going to let Diamond SR Forever have this opportunity to set up. Live is going to be going really aggressively looking for this Farah, trying to take out, but Laka could just drop down behind!
Oh, hello, Laka! With the 3k on the barrage, will get taken out by Slembu. Looks like we're not going to see the space for the rest to come back in onto Laka, but that is a heck of a way to put a halt to your opponent coming in. One ult for that was genuinely, astonishingly good value.
Windows go both ways in Overwatch, Phil. If you've got one sightline into your opponents, I hate to say it, but you need to watch your back because they've probably got another one into your backside. Alex now has the Sigma Flux, and we do have to remember Exilia, they're running a composition which only has this immortality field to keep people alive for that Flux. So if they can pull it out early and then Flux, they should pick up a couple of kills. But Live getting the pick onto the Bastion does definitely create this opportunity.
because we have seen the Mercy drop down. Right, exactly. Minivale knew where they were going to be. Turn the barrage onto Zepturn, stopping the rest coming out. Live's going to find Lacquer. Minivale brought back into the fight, and it's Live piling the damage into the high ground. We've heard the configuration tank form, the battle cry of the Bastion off in the backline. Hasn't found anything of value yet. Too far away to get anything done. And with 47 seconds left to go on the clock, we've got a last second contest from Alex on the wrecking ball, but it is going to be just Alex. And whilst you do have that big health pool, it's not enough. And now the amplification matrix on the field as well is going to allow RAF 404 to find 1 and 2. And now it's Live with the configuration tank form and Minivale with the drop down and the stuff of that rocket into the waiting face of RAF 404. But Diamond SR Forever are still holding on here. They are trying to grind out this hold as much as they can. Live is just perched behind the payload, providing such a threat to the incoming team that they may just lose this out in overtime. Now we've got the Tracer of RAF 404 back in, trying to keep this going. But as overtime ticks over, it's going to be Exilia Invicta with the bodies on the point to keep this going. But my lord, the SRF do not want to give this over without a fight.
Well, the spawns are so much closer than Exilia's, and so reinforcements are going to get there faster.
Whoa!
Especially if Lacquer manages to pick up 2.
Lacquer with the barrage, but Minivale is going to find the equalizer. And now with a Reinhardt Do Senpai getting back that a little bit quicker. RAF 404 finds Minivale. The minefield is on the point. The configuration tank form is there. It'll find 2. Looking for a 3rd. That's going to be the Bastion taking down the overtime wick. Takes down. The SRF had no right to be able to grind that fight on for as long as they did, but they made it work.
Immortality fields just make that contesting a payload such a gruesome task. For teams, you have to have so much focus because you have to look up, take the murder goggles off for just a second to calmly take out that lamp, just completely ruining your day, and then go back to the murder spree. But unfortunately, Exilia, they don't just manage to push that payload all the way to B, and so they will only take 1 point on Rialto.
That was... I don't know how about you, but just watching that and talking about it, I'm exhausted. The mental fortitude that Diamond SR Forever had to have to keep that going for so long, just the constant stream of recontests until they could get the key ultimates online, must have just been such a drain of the blood sugar level. I'm amazed these guys aren't getting by with at least a pack of Twixes by the side of them to keep them going through this.
Well, we don't know that because unfortunately we don't have player cams, so maybe they just have a massive big stack of sugar, and every time there's a contest, they're like, oh, okay, just pour it all in. It's gonna be Alex on the Winston. It is the attacker spawn. Yeah, not gonna be going for the dive. I thought maybe we would see this pair up between the Hammond and the Winston trying to get into the backline, knock a couple of people into the river. But I think they see that they're gonna be going up against Live on this Bastion once more. Minivale on the Farah. The only way you can really get around a barrage is indeed the Sigma Shield or an extremely well-timed Winston bubble, but no, they will be opting for that 1 second cooldown instead.
Well, I did wonder if we were going to see the Wrecking Ball come out just to try and interrupt the bunker and generate a little bit of an attention grab, but no, instead going to be going for the mirror matchup. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Lacquer getting a nice bit of advantage there, getting a couple of direct rockets, can't quite secure the kill. But in the meantime, tying up resources, ensuring a 4v4 whilst the rest of the fight is going on. Saruman very quickly closing in on this amplification matrix. Has a little bit of a lead over Matzi, although Matzi also closing in. We're going to see Lacquer go down first here, and Minivale now free to pile in damage into that grouped up team at the back there. You can see the amplification matrix popped in the distance, but there's no Bastion there to capitalize on it because nobody was dealing with Minivale, with Lacquer busy coming back from respawn town.
And Mapsy did not need to put his amplification matrix in, and so he's gonna have it for when Diamond SR Forever are actually gonna try and approach this payload. But they've done exactly what Exilia did. They've just gone around and then forcing a drop down if the payload is to be contested.
Well, they've just got to drag it out a little bit further, and they'll be playing from in the middle of the square. The barrage comes out just to secure the kill onto Ghostic, and it picks up Slembu as a little bit of a bonus in there as well. So this hold from Exilia Invicta already in trouble.
And now you can collapse in on the remaining victims. They're just clumped up in this high ground. Not gonna be long for this world. There goes the Bastion. Does manage to get Laka though.
It's a little bit of a trade. Don't know if we do actually have the res online. You can see it just there on the right. Laka brought in. Lax going down, but Raffo 404 still a huge threat in the back. Now going to reposition to get up onto the car. Laka playing aggressively here. Will find the waiting shield of the waiting Sigma, who is caught out in the open, is going to continue to take that damage. Luckily, Orisa able to get there in time to provide him a little bit of cover, but Laka playing aggressively now. Coming face to face with Minivale, has the Mercy pocket, so has the advantage now over Minivale, who does just receive the Mercy in time. But with a direct rocket, Minivale is going to fall. And of course, we can see the Mercy down there, trapped, trying to get the res off. Oh, able to get it off. The immortality field comes through for Matzy to help them survive through that. But all this time, the payload is creeping forward. You didn't fight the fight you needed to fight. Randomizer is going to find Alex here, but it's going to be Raffo 404 still piling in the damage for Diamond SR forever.
Yeah, but Ghostic has got the Sigma Flux, and in it comes, and I hope that Saruman has the immortality. It was on cooldown!
It's on cooldown, but the tracking was so good there, just straight up in to keep the Bastion alive through that. Sadly, once that was down, that was done and dusted. Minivale able to get a couple of kills to round out that team fight, and will crucially have the barrage ready for the next fight. A sneaky barrage here could really, really stuff up this next team fight.
Well, we've seen the sneaky Pharah plays. We've seen the Pharah drop down into the backline and get that triple barrage off, and surely they're going to be looking for more of the same. But you do have to remember, you've been caught out by it once, so you know there is a target painted on your back, and you don't want to walk across that bridge. When Live is sitting there behind an amplification matrix, so much damage coming in.
That's unfortunate. Raffo 404 not able to capitalize on Matrix, and I love the degree of body blocking we were seeing there from Alex. It just wasn't enough to keep Raffo in the fight. Laka now with a barrage of their own, managing to dodge the rock. Doesn't get rolled out of the sky just yet. Looking, well, pretty much ignored Ghostic. Ghostic went, by the way, guy, I'm still here, and took them out of the fight. Laka's going to have to wait and come back again to try and get that sneaky barrage into play.
I mean, you know you've made it big when you actually manage a successful caster curse, so big up, Spell! I don't think Minivale's gonna be, not Minivale, Laka's gonna be too happy about that one, but it's definitely gonna be a happy, good fun time for these Bastions. So much damage coming out from both of them at the moment.
It's another amplification matrix, but yeah, you just can't see the immortality field. You can't break it. Rafa 4 goes down once again. Live has the superior position here, has so much natural cover, has the high ground advantage. They can just control everything about this fight, and as we see Laka fall to it as well, really, we need to see something new from Diamond SR Forever, because this is not working out for them right now.
They have to stop going out into the open with heroes that need space to work, because Bastion just takes all of the space that you're trying to have and shuts it completely down. We see the superchargers go in from Doge, so they are trying to properly approach this, but look! Again, this immortality field has to be dropped because of the amount of crossfire. You've got the Bastion on the bridge, you've got the Pharah over the head. You simply cannot cross it. And at this point, I want to see Symmetra. I want to see them just teleport across.
Look, this is the third time now we've seen this amplification matrix over the Bastion, and it's the third time we've seen it not find anything because of the natural cover that we've got available for Exilia Invicta. You're absolutely right. Something has to change. And finally, we've got something on the board that is likely to provide a little bit more help. That extra wall coming in from Leica on the May might just be what they need, but they're coming into 4 ultimates.
It's not going to be enough. That May wall is just going to get ripped to absolute shreds. They try to go for the back, but they're just walking into
Hello!
barrage.
Had to know it was there, only able to find 1, but Live's going to find Do Senpai as well. Alex finds 2 with the grab, and a 3rd with the melee. Matzy gets brought back into the fight crucially. Live not still here. Live taken out by Laka. Who could have thought all it took was that 2 swaps, and suddenly that payload that was so constipated for so long is flowing freely now.
Yes, but you have under 30 seconds on the board, and we've seen crazy contests from these teams, Phil. This could be the reason why you don't take Rialto, the stubbornness. Laka is trying to build up to this blizzard, but 14 seconds, 30% of an ultimate, it's a huge ask.
It's been quite a good attack so far, managing to separate out Ghostic now down, but live with the configuration tank form. Gonna have some of that damage blocked out by the wall as we approach less than 2 meters. It's gonna be live in charge of the point with all the help in the world keeping them alive as the overtime wick ticks down. No recontest from Diamond SR forever as Exilia, Invicta look to take us to 1-1 in the series.
And here is the grim bottom line. Laka died only just getting Blizzard up. If you had swapped off milliseconds before, you would have had a Blizzard to come into that contest with. Everyone would be frozen. You would either force them off the payload, letting you take B, or they would just be popsicles. They would be sitting ducks.
It's almost a cliche, the definition of madness being repeating the same actions over and over again and expecting different results. The fact that we saw 3 entire amplification matrices fired in just to try and support Bastion getting the kills, and it being just flummoxed by that immortality field every time shows a real stubbornness in Diamond SR Forever that worked out well for them, not wanting to give up that point on their attack phase and on their defense phase. They managed to store that out, but that same stubbornness worked against them on their offense phase. And because of a refusal to change, they were just completely stuffed up there.
And not only that, but you do have to remember when you've got that immortality field down, even if you continue pumping damage into them, their HP bars, they're not going to drop below 0, but also you're you're essentially a battery for the enemy's support ultimates. They're going to get so much healing done in that time.
It's one of the things that I think is maybe certainly the lower levels of play not that well recognized about what the immortality field does, because it delays death. It gives you that bit more time to get your resources back, get a little more, get your orb cooldown if you're Moira, get your biotic grenade back if you're Anna, and then start to do the healing. And so it's such a powerful ability, and Exilia Invicta were doing such a good job of utilizing it and their high ground position to really, really cause DSRF some trouble there.
And going into, I do believe, Hanamura next, this is another map where you can utilize that Batiste Bastion bunker that we've been seeing to the point that we've been seeing it, because these guys, they're playing it like a dream. This is picture perfect what we want to see from Bastion and Batiste matchup.
It's very close to perfect levels of play. And we will be going to Hanamura very shortly, but we are going to throw to a 2-minute break whilst we get a few technical details sorted out. But please don't go too far, because we are going to be coming right back. Welcome back, everybody. About to head on over into Hanamura, and we were just talking in the break where, we'd like to see it maybe a little bit more creativity from some of these teams, and Diamond SR Forever in particular, a little less stubbornness, a little more flexibility. We were just postulating that if there was any map in the map set where you were going to see something like, oh, I don't know, a Symmetra set play, this is where we're going to see it. Do we think, from what we've seen of these teams so far today, that we're likely to see that come out?
I think if we're going to see it from any team, it's gonna be Exilia. They
Yeah,
have
they do seem the
shown
more flexible, don't they?
they indeed seem more flexible. They also have shown that they have a tendency to lean towards what some people would call the cheese rats, but if it gets the job done, then it is genuine strategy. And we've seen in Overwatch League and World Cup, people do play Bastion.
Well, so
And it
here's the
works.
thing: the strategy that was being used by Diamond SR Forever and Exilia Invicta, using the Bastion, using the Pharah, that's an NYXL classic. It's NYXL in season 4 that really brought that to everybody's attention, and it works amazingly because of how much control of space it gives you.
I mean, I just remember from that match, I do believe it was Chonak on the Roadhog for all of about a minute before swapping off. Although we're
Mm.
probably not going to be seeing Roadhog on Hanamura. Maybe when the meta shifts, he's definitely going to become very powerful. But indeed, it is a tried and tested, Overwatch League team approved strategy that you can do, and another matchup that you could do, because you can indeed set that Bastion and the Pharah up, have that horrible crossfire going as teams try to cross the courtyard. You can just put that Symmetra teleporter down, but we've seen teams adapt. We've seen how bunkers already read the Symmetra teleporter coming even before they see the team, and they either rotate from that high ground that they usually take on the right side of the point to the point itself. Because at
Mm.
the end of the day, if you want to capture that point, you are going to have to step onto that point, which means you are walking into where the Bastion is. What
Yeah.
you can do to play around that is, instead of just going for the Symmetra, you can get that Maywall, and we've seen teams utilize that little window that Widows and Hansels like to peek in and say hello
Mm.
to get that teleporter all the way onto the high ground of the point, then wrap around it and do drop downs.
Just one of a number of strategies that you could employ here. Although, I think whilst we were talking about the flexibility of these two teams, everything we've seen so far is what you would stick that meta sticker over. And despite its use on this map in particular, particularly on ladder, I know that people I play with abuse this all the time, and people somehow never see it coming. Uh, it feels like a very high risk, high reward sort of strategy to try and do these off meta things where if they work and they completely pull the rug out from your opponent, great, you've just won a point for free. But if they're quick enough on the uptake to just go, oh, wait, no, we know what this is, and we're just going to walk onto the point and kill you instead, then you've given over a lot of ult charge that you then have to reset your comp to deal with and put yourself in a perpetual hole for the rest of the match.
Going off meta is very much like you're playing a game of pin the tail on the donkey, only instead of blindfolded, you've been spun around 100 times and there is a cliff if you off like that you are ready to fall onto and off of if you miss that donkey. And it can be very risky, but it can be, as you say, very rewarding. You can take Hanamura in breakneck speeds and manage to have enough ults in the bank to snowball through B. Or you can get full held, you can have to go back, you can have to reset absolutely everything. We saw Diamonds SR Forever. They struggled getting that Maze Blizzard up on that last bit of Rialto because
Mm.
they swapped so late. If they'd had Blizzard up, completely different story. And so we're going to see, have they learned their lesson? Because that's really, I think, what's going to hinge on who takes the victory here today.
That's great. Well, we are getting ready to go into our first defensive round coming up, and it's going to be, I believe, our teams have swapped side now. So it's Exilia Invicta playing in the blue, Diamond SR Forever playing in the red, and this is an incredibly meta composition coming out in particular with the May. Here is so good for just blocking up this choke. It's a thing that I comment on time and again. There are so many doors and passageways that are just miraculously the right size for a May wall to fit perfectly in the middle here, and the Choker Hanamura is one of those.
See, I have a theory that someone at Blizzard, when they were designing all of these maps, was a May main. and they just decided, they took a tape measure to that structure of the Mei wall and just measured all of the sides and was like, yep, that's perfect, we're gonna have it exactly to that pixel. And indeed, it is gonna be a real problem for Diamonds Are Forever, and we're actually seeing Laka go onto the Doomfist a little bit more mobility to maybe climb over those Mei walls and try to hope that they're not going to provide as much of a difficulty as they were finding on Lijiang Tower.
Well, we're going to see Raph just TP right the way in behind and go to point and look to start to get a contest, but Minivale able to freeze and focus Alex down. Gostic able to pile in the damage as well. Minivale catapulted forward, uses the Mei wall to get out of trouble as well, and Raph 0404 did get a little bit of ult charge, but was ultimately found out of their flank and sent back to spawn.
I want to see Diamonds Are Forever try to go for this big brain play. I want to see them beat out this Mei wall. I want to see Saruman act as if they're going to speed boost and then them all fall back, but no, they do manage to get through though.
It's going to be almost all through the wall, but Diamond SR Forever bouncing back in spectacular fashion. Zepturn able to find Live with their ultimate, now back onto the primary. Fire finds one with the damage orb as well. Full DPS Moira from Zepturn, but honestly, if it wins you the point, I'm happy to give you the benefit of the doubt on that one, Zepturn.
Well, Diamond SR Forever, proving that all you need to do to win a game of Overwatch is press W, move forward, and trust your team. That's certainly what they do, except they're going to be walking into Ghost 6 Sigma Flex, and Saruman is not going to have that sign barrier. So
that was a beautiful bait! Baited out Matsy's Coalescence and come around the side. Matsy has to overextend to get any value out of it at all, and now they've only got to worry about the Gravitic Flux, and at this point, a dry push onto the point that gets out the Flux is great value. We're going to see Live trying to get a little bit of credit there. We'll find Laka getting close now to having their Death Blossom online and ready to go as they find their opposite number. That was actually not a bad push for Diamond SR Forever. It got rid of 2 ultimates for basically nothing.
It did indeed get rid of that Coalescence with a beautiful bait and that Sigma Flex. However, Exilia are in a wonderful position where, yes, they lost 2 ultimates, but they are going to have Death Blossom, Blizzard coming online, supercharges, and a sound barrier, which Diamond SR Forever did not have the option of for when that Sigma Flux came through. Laka is gonna have this Meteor Strike, but all of the targets that are being run by Exilia, they're not really going to be caught out by that one unless cooldowns have been used, so you have to try go in at least a little bit, or even just use it straight up as an exit gate.
Right, well, as the rotation comes in, we see Laka try and do enough damage to take out the supercharger. Will find a little bit of damage value, but they forgot about Live. Able to find 2, taking out the main support and the main damage line. Live actually finding a huge amount of very efficient value, and this is an unusual stagger. You don't often see the Orisa staggered out, but there we go. Do Senpai, the last to fall.
Well, they're not going to do the entirely cruel thing, which would have been to body block the Orisa. But if you're Diamond SR Forever, you are feeling pretty happy with how this next fight is going to go, because you have a whole landslide of ultimates at your beck and call, and you just have to try and get in through the door. Maybe go for a little bit of a bait. We've seen that these guys do like to try plays like that, get the Blizzard out a little bit early. Matsy does have another Coalescence, but probably going to be holding on that one for when an actual
If the Evil Toaster special, it's the flanking Orisa onto the point now, has the supercharger ready to go. Raspo 04 will now have the Death Blossom ready to go. The Gravitic Flux is out. The Blizzard is out too. And Raph 404 able to find 1, able to find 2. Now it is advantage to Diamond SR Forever. It's going to be Matsy, the last left standing. Trying to keep this going a little bit longer, but now this is about damage mitigation. How quickly can we get to the point to burn time off this aggressive play coming out from the DPS line of Diamond SR Forever? It's going to stuff up that recontest. A beautifully well-played final attack round there from Diamond SR Forever.
No one expects the flanking Orisa. Everyone expects the Orisa to be with the team, and then when the Orisa just goes off on her own, everyone is very confused, because do you jump in on the main tank who just put down supercharges, which pumps out a whole lot of damage on her side, or do you go for the team she's left behind who suddenly doesn't have a main tank? Unfortunately, neither happens, and that is going to be a pretty nice point B pickup. So you're going to be happy with that one, and 2 minutes 45 to be honest, in my own games of Hanamura, I'm happy if I even managed to get one tick
Wow.
on that point B. It is such a brutal one to take with those respawns being as close as they are.
2 minutes 45 might as well be a year in terms of time bank for Hanamura 2 because it's so common just to get it in OT and then somehow miraculously have it go again and again and again and again in 1 minute cap time. But hopefully we won't see quite that level of drag in this game. It was certainly a very disciplined attack on that last run from Diamond SR Forever. Let's see if they can replicate that success on defense.
I'm interested to see whether or not live on this Sombra is gonna be for a scout to see what exactly Diamond SR Forever is running, or whether or not they're actually gonna be sticking with it and putting some eggs in the basket of the EMP, because if there's one way to shut down a Doomfist, it is to hack him so that he is registered pretty much legless.
Now, I'm pretty sure this is the old Jamboree pick. Send in the Sombra on the scout, find out what they're running, and get back. In fact, not even going for that really live, already back on the Reaper. No wrinkles here. We've got a full-on mirror matchup. DSRF not opting to run the Mei just yet. This is going to be down to which Doomfist can get the right pick here. And Laka, so far, seems to have the upper hand. Rap404 craftily hiding behind the door, will reposition now. Wants to get in and try and challenge either the Sigma or the Doomfist to rob them of some of their potential pick power. Matzi doing what they can to pile in the healing to Randomizer. Randomizer supposed to go. Laka getting the first pick on the Doomfist. Matzi closing in on the Coalescence, but now that Laka has 2 on his death count already, that is going to be not a fight that you want to invest too much more in. Exilia Invicta did well to get onto the point there, but it's not enough to get onto the point. You've got to start getting those kills as well.
Well, we're going to be hearing an echo in the room in just a little bit because both of these Moiras have those beams up and they are most definitely going to be popped when this approach eventually happens. Ghostic is trying to build up to the Sigma Flux. Alex is like just a little bit behind, but Saruman gonna be ahead of Slembu on the mirror.
We did see Live go for the TP up in there, but has to drop down back onto point. Laka going in, low health, look for a pick, look to get out of the rage of some of that damage, not able to find anything. And Minivale crouching on the side, will find one with the right click. Live's gonna get the second there with Do Senpai down. The stun comes through as Ghostic's gonna find Alex, and this is all starting to fall apart for Diamond SR Forever because it is Exilia Invicta featuring in blue on the kill feed as they come into camp point A.
And look at these Moiras though, Phil. Yes, Zepton goes down. Yes, his team loses that fight, but these Moiras already, they're almost at the Nova Coalescence, and we literally just heard them being used a couple of seconds ago. Coalescence is such a fast building ultimate which allows your team to build ultimates up around it, and it means that both of these guys are going to have so much tools in their arsenal to try and either defend me or take it. Raph is looking for this Death Blossom. He's being sneaky, but they don't take the path he wanted, and so he's just dropping down normally.
But it's going to be the Gravitic Flux landing onto that spiky ball of pain that is Rap404's Death Blossom. There's pretty much nothing else you can do in that fight, but they have crucially forced the sound barrier out of Saruman to survive through that, and Exilia Invicta in this next fight will have their pick of ultimates to use.
They are going to have so much at their disposal, and so now if you're the defenders, you have to get aggressive. You cannot allow Exilia to dictate how this next engagement goes. You have to have Doge put down these superchargers the second you see Exilia try to form any sort of commitment to this point. Otherwise, you are going to be in for an absolute slaughter.
Well, this low ground rotation is proving very popular today. We're going to see the stun come through onto Minifail. The Coalescence pop to keep them alive. And now this Meteor Strike coming out. But the second Meteor Strike is usually the one that gets punished. Laka able to find 2, but Minifail and Matzi between them finding a double for themselves. And now it is time for Chaos o'clock on the point. It's going to be Diamond SR Forever starting to get this stabilization here on the point. Ghostic finally going down. Diamond SR Forever somehow holding on in the face of all those ultimates from Exilia Invicta.
And now there is just the one ultimate on the board, and that is going to be Live's Death Blossom. But you're the aggressive Reaper, you're the attacking Reaper. You have to get in unnoticed. You have to either teleport or flank unnoticed to find any sort of value. Otherwise, you are going to be seen a mile away. And you've got a Sigma who has Rock Up and a Orisa who can just halt you away. Death Blossom is such a hard ultimate to land, but when it does, it's that sweet spot. It puts so much damage in and nearly always guarantees the kill.
Well, we're going to see this low ground rotation once more from Exilia Invicta. Wrath 404 going to be closing in on a Death Blossom of their own. Trust they can get it. Gets in. Not going to pop it just yet. Miniveil able to get one. Randomizer's going to find Doge Senpai live. Opts to commit the Death Blossom now. Exilia Invicta looking like they might just be able to force their way onto this point. The right click comes out, the punch failing to confirm the kill, but Ghostic there able to find Laka and the sound barrier thrown in from Saramin. Gravitic Flux now and the Death Blossom from Rav 404 will find two taken out by Live here. Is that going to be enough for Exilia Invicta to burst their way through? Diamond SR Forever already back in full force on the point. It's got to be a full-on retreat for Exilia Invicta here. And we are now a minute below the time bank that Diamond SR Forever managed.
They put in so much. They thought that was their fight to win, and they didn't even get a single tick off it. Diamond SR Forever, their spawn is so close that they just need to filter in, get a couple of picks, just let Raph get in on that teleport, Death Blossom pick up all of the kills, and then the rest of the team are there as reinforcements, and that just doesn't happen for Exilia, who are just too far away to offer any sort of aid. Slembu has to keep a hold of the sound barrier because Alex has the Sigma Flux, and they're definitely going to be looking to pressure this Lucio. And so the team, they're just moving as one whole, tries to halt them off the high ground, and unfortunately doesn't work.
No, Rafa 404 still hold. Well, no, in fact, drops down straight away. Opted not to try and take that flank angle. Recognizes there is too much HP and too much damage. Instead, gonna wait for them to come down. Gravitic Flux is gonna come out, triggers the sound barrier. Flux itself not able to get much in there. The Meteor Strike comes out, does some body damage. But speaking of body damage, Live with the Death Blossom is gonna find two. Ghostic able to get two of themselves. Live capitalizing on this. It is Live and Ghostic doing the heavy lifting for Exilia Invicta. The recon test has to be quick, but the body block and the right click is there. Live able to find Siren before that contest comes in. But this is a tale of two vastly different time banks in this next fight. 3 minutes for Diamond SR Forever. Exilia Invicta with one, maybe two attempts at a push on point A if they can do it in a disciplined fashion.
We talked earlier about how hard Hanamura Point B is to lock down and how it was such a feat that we had a 3-minute time bank set by Diamond SR Forever, and Exilia just underlined the point that we were talking about. 1 minute on the clock. This is going to be so much of a push for these guys. You really do have to go for the composition that you are confident in, because 1 minute does not allow for swaps to come in. If you swap off any hero, that will reset your ultimate meter, and that is shooting yourself in the foot.
Well, look, we've already got the potential here for Live to be running this scout pick of the Sombra. And I kind of think what you were saying is really very painfully correct. You can't afford even the handful of seconds that using that scouting and coming back and changing actually gives you. You've got to leverage every single second you can here.
Yeah, that swap off a Sombra onto whatever it's going to actually be, that is going to cost them massively, unless they are actually thinking that maybe they're going to be, nope, no. There we go. No, they're not going to run with it, and I am really happy, because that would have wasted at least 20 seconds, and that is a third of your time bank that would have been gone.
No, they need one big, clean, disciplined engage, a key pick. We've got to watch Miniveil. Miniveil has to get in here and find something with a combo or just with the right click to secure a numbers advantage. And so far, it's not really working out for them. Miniveil takes a lot of damage. It's going to be Matsy going down. Live able to find Laka as well. So it is still 5v5, but losing the main support is absolutely terrible here for the offensive team. Exilia Invicta already down in the hole. Miniveil looking for a kill, can't quite confirm it. The kinetic grasp there to stop any of that coming through. Saramin able to find the opposite number there. Miniveil with a speculative punch will find Rap 404. Zapter now with the coalescence, helping to keep the main tank alive. And it looks like somehow Exilia Invicta might just do this. Live has been able to do so much work to keep this going that they've secured a huge numbers advantage, and with a second coalescence on the line from Matsi, they have managed to flip this point over in overtime. They're going to get 30 seconds to try and make a cap on the second point of possibility.
In all honesty, that should not have happened. I was looking at the kill feed. I was waiting because the Moira gets taken out, and I was waiting for Exilia, knowing that they have such a little time bank to just pull out, to disengage, and wait for one support. But they stay in, and then their Lucio Slembo goes down, but they still stay in. But they managed to make it work, and now they're going to have ultimates, they're going to have a Sigma Flux, they're going to have a Death Blossom to try and take B. And so it's up to Saruman to keep the sound barrier for when the hurt train is going to be coming in.
Oh, Slenbu goes down. Like it, able to find a kill. The sound barrier comes out, and that is going to be Diamond SR forever. Definitely, with their finger on the pulse, able to get the kills they need to stop any more. It was a valiant effort, but just too little too late from Exilia Invicta. And now we get to see whether Diamond SR forever can make this 3-minute time bank worth their while.
Exilia have to have the same target focus that Diamond SR forever have. We have seen that the support just got completely wiped off the table. Before that engagement onto point B properly begins, Slembo was taken out of the equation by the Doomfist, which takes out one of your supports. Not only does it take out the healing, it takes out the speed boost. And speed boost is such a strong tool of engagement because you just essentially, you get to go from one side of the map to completely into your enemy's faces in a split second. And that's just suddenly gone. And then you can collapse in on the Moira, and once you've got the Moira out of the way, no support. No support is essentially a body without a head and legs. It cannot stand.
That's right, it puts you deep into torso territory, and frankly, nobody wants to be there. But looking at what we've got coming up on the defensive lineup from Exilia Invicta, if your goal is to burn time off the offensive team's clock, this is exactly the team comp for it. It can be so hard to break these bunkers.
I call this the nuisance composition. This is just trying to be a nuisance. You've got Live, who's going to be sitting behind 2 layers of shielding, and you've got Minivale, who's going to be going and jumping up and all around, shooting at Diamond SR forever from all angles. But Laka on the Sombra for a scout, gonna actually swap onto the Mace. So they're going to be trying to put the wall up, negate the damage coming from the way of Live, to try and get into one of these little small rooms, and then try and approach the point that way. There we go.
Oh, we're not even going for the rotate around them. We just want to get right in top of the Bastion. Immortality Field is up, and the freeze out now from Leica is going to stuff them up while they wait for that Immortality Field to go down. Minito able to find Zeppelin here, and it is Laka trying to get work done with that primary fire, but Alex finds Matsi. Raffo 4 is going to find Randomizer as well. Minivale desperately trying to make this work, taken out by Alex. And now we have numbers and time advantage for DSRF. There are a couple of members left still on the point, and crucially the Bastion, who I didn't initially spot, triggers in the ice block from the Mei, but gets frozen out themselves. No Immortality Field this time. Live knocked out again, and as the recontest comes in from Diamond SR forever, that is going to be Diamond SR forever taking this point with 2 minutes to try and cap point B.
They had the numbers advantage. You had a Mercy, a Sigma, and a Bastion against the world, and sadly it is just not enough. Live is going to swap onto the Reaper. Very strange, considering Reaper is a very much in-your-face tank brawler that you want to have up close and personal. I would rather see something with a little bit more range, but they're just going to straight up open, try to get this B with that Blizzard.
Oh, Laka with a Blizzard will secure the kill onto Gostic. Minivale taken down in the middle of the barrage. Raf 404 closing in on having that Death Blossom, and it is not looking good for Exilia Invicta. The numbers are there for Diamond SR forever with the Death Blossom on the field. It scares the Wrecking Ball away, able to just get back into point and contest, and it's going to be Zep's turn, starting to get the confirms on those kills as the recontest comes in. The wall stuffs them in. Diamond SR forever take us to match point in the series.
It's gonna be a close one, though. Both of these teams have identified what the other one likes to run and how best to counter it. And what's really going to swing it in one's favor are the picks. You have to be prepared to swap to counters.
You absolutely do. But this again comes back to, we were talking about how obstinate Diamond SR Forever were being on Rialto and refusing to change off. Exilia Invicta, also, with the exception of knowing that they had to swap off that nuisance composition to have something a little more flexible and reactionary, are still running these very, very set compositions. The counter swaps aren't really there. They're not saying, well, they've got a Reaper, so we need to be running something that can deal with the Reaper. They're just going, we'll just run the mirror and hope that we can beat them in the neutral fight. And it's just not quite working out for them.
I mean, you have the phrase slave to the meta, and it certainly rings true. At the moment, sometimes you have to just venture out of your comfort zone. And I know in the advanced finals, maybe that is not the ideal moment that you want to be moving away from something that you've been practicing so often. But if you're losing at it, then surely it's time to change something up.
Absolutely. I'd love to see, let's just think a little bit outside the box. One of the big problems here is that Laka and Midivale are both on the Doomfist, both showing to be quite competent Doomfist, able to get in and out again, getting a pick and getting out without getting punished. Something with the capacity to punish the Doomfist as it comes in, either running the May or maybe even taking a chance on running a McCree, playing behind the shields, giving you the ranged option, even getting the flashbang onto the Doomfist as it comes in. Could be the sort of thing that turns the tide. And it's kind of down now to whether Exilia Invicta or Diamond SR Forever have the confidence to do a little bit of experimentation, a little bit of adaptation. So far, we haven't really seen that from them, but this is now down to the wire. Diamond SR Forever, they've got to win this one map, and that's it. They take the entire tournament.
Well, you say that you would indeed like to see this counter to the Doomfist, and I am going to echo that. But going into King's Row, you mentioned the McCree. McCree is a very odd DPS that can find value in some maps where you don't really assume for him to pop up. Because King's Row is very much, you want to have mobility. You want to be able to get to the high ground easily, because you think about point A, you've got the walkway right above the point. If you have control of that, you are looking down on the point, and you can find so much value in it. You have indeed the walkway then continues, and you've got vantage point on right, vantage point on left. You can have a support like a Batiste just cooped up there and just free shooting onto the point to heal all of the team down there. McCree is not the most mobile. He knows how to roll.
But he can do one heck of a somersault. Let's give him that.
I mean, he would definitely be the best at Overwatch and Dark Souls. But other than that, I do believe he will find a certain amount of difficulty to find value on King's Row, unless you indeed do play him less of the flanker that we see some DPS like to go for. But stick with the team.
I think the message I'm getting here, if I'm listening to you right, is that Overwatch devs let McCree wall run. Is that right? Is that what we're after here?
Well, we've seen Torbjorn wall run, so...
And it's glorious.
I'm waiting for the emote. I'm waiting for it. There's going to be a skin, right? And what they're going to do is, as an April Fool's joke, they're going to mix everyone up. And so we're going to get a Reinhardt dressed as a Torbjorn, and a Torbjorn dressed as, let's say, a Pharah, a Mercy dressed as a Roadhog. We're going to get skins for all of the heroes, but they're going to look like someone else.
I think the only way I can really support that is if they have... so Mercy dressed as Roadhog, but it's in Roadhog's actual Roadhog-sized clothes, so they're just, like, draping off her.
It's like she got hit by a shrink ray.
Well, anyway, as we move away from this insanity and into more insanity on King's Row, it's kind of fitting that we come to King's Row for what could be our last match of the series. It's a map that we see all the time at every level of play. It's run in scrims as one of the most popular maps. It's the closest thing we have to a perfect map in Overwatch, which is why we see so much of it. But I think it's not a map necessarily that allows you to deviate too much from the meta slavery picks. So I think we're going to see more of the same here.
I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna put my job on the line, and I'm gonna say.
Okay, so hang on. Before we go any further, you're putting your job on the line. So if this is wrong, you're never going to cast.
No, Because
Okay.
I've already bet once that if I was wrong about something, I would eat my microphone, and that was a very tasty dinner.
I was going to say, it's lucky that your microphone is made of chocolate, really. That worked out quite well for you.
Yeah, it's a big microphone, you know?
Yeah.
Just some salt, some pepper. It tastes quite nice. I'm gonna say, you used to be able to run this Rein Zarya composition on King's Row. On attack, not so much defense is what this hinges on. Lucio has since been reverted so that the speed boost isn't so much on the walls as it now affects everybody on the ground. Back to how it was before, you know, that standard free composition that everybody adored. And so he is still,
I know some people who'd like to see it come back.
he is still very much viable on King's Row attack if you want to just get into the enemy space. But unfortunately, it's gonna look as if people are staying slave to meta. You're gonna have Laka just shoot out
Laka, you
temporary Hanzo arrow and revert back to that Doomfist that we've been seeing so frequently.
That was a scout, wasn't it, really? It was just like, what can I find with the arrow? Well, a lot of damage piled in there onto the Orisa. No follow-up onto it just yet. Minivale able to do a lot to split them up. We're going to see Raph 404 in the backline, free-firing into the tank, but behind Raph was live, free-firing into Raph. Zapturn will find Minivale, but it is live, currently controlling the pace of this fight.
It's pretty much the Orisa randomizer controlling how exactly that fight went, because you do see in the kill feeds other names, but the assist, that halt, so beautiful, so perfect, pulling all of Diamond SR Forever into the damage. And again, Halt used to just engage in that fight.
Halt's like bacon, it goes with pretty much everything, but this is super aggressive, and it's going to be Laka finding the first kill of this team fight with Randomizer going down, no longer able to get those combos into position, and using the shield there to back out of the way of the May freeze. Laka able to trace Slembu as they were coming down and take them out of the fight. This is once more about damage mitigation, as we see Laka rocked out of it, using the Meteor Strike to come in, not quite able to connect with the hole as the Moira fades out of it, mistimes that punch as we see the wall come up, and Minivale with the Blizzard now online, taken out. We're going to see maybe a little bit more of a stall, but it is definitely looking like a one-team fight.
But they didn't put in ultimates to an arguably losing battle. So they are going to have a Blizzard, a Flux, and a Death Blossom to try and tip the scales in their favor. And so if Diamond SR Forever go as aggressively as we sometimes see some teams on King's Row Street Face do, they will immediately get punished for it, which is why we're seeing that they're not going for those aggressive all the way to almost point B, but sticking around a little bit of a mid phase. Live has, I do believe, been spotted out, so they know the rapist there.
Well, I could... wait!
Raph?
What was that? Was that a flex? So that's just a flex if I don't even need my Death Blossom. I'm just gonna pop it in and see what happens. That's unfortunate. And now with the Flux and the answering Death Blossom out from Live, we'll only find one before the melee comes in from Alex, but that's unfortunate that there is no Death Blossom left for Raph, because that could have turned that right the way around. Crucially here, Minivale is going to hold on to the Blizzard for the next fight.
They didn't have to put it in because Raph apparently saw a spider and freaked out and just whammed all of the buttons in
There's
the
a
keyboard
bug on you!
that you sometimes see. Maybe he saw a Widowmaker.
Maybe.
But Minivale does indeed have this Blizzard, but Alex is the one who wants to open things up.
I mean, the
but
Gravitic
Slembo
Flux...
has Sound Barrier.
Gravitic Flux actually doesn't even find anything. The sound barrier came out regardless, and now with the Supercharger on the field, we're going to have to see them play very, very defensively rather than risk-taking that accelerated damage. Beautiful wall, but luckily the fade is there for Raph, and they got out of it. Another Hulk comes in. Nothing coming out of it just yet, but this continues to be a very good hold.
And Minivale is still sitting on this Blizzard, hasn't had to put it in, which has allowed Zapturn to build up this coalescence. So crucially, the Moira cannot be caught out in the freeze frame.
Well, Minivale finally, as you say, putting it in, able to find 1, 2, and 3 kills. A little help there from the rest of the team. And whilst all that's been going on, of course, we get a lot closer to a Coalescence and a Flux and another Death Blossom for Exilia Invicta.
Zapturn was unfortunately caught out in the snow, wasn't able to pop Coalescence to keep the team alive, and so they are going to be able to match Kamehameha with Matzi. But this is going to be Ghostic who's going to open things up immediately as soon as that drop tank comes in with the Flux.
Good. Billy Flux is going to find two. Ghostic able to find Laka as part of that, and now the dueling match is on. The jousting match is on. Both Coalescences pop pretty much in lockstep. Live getting up close and personal, getting ever closer to the Death Blossom. We might see this one do some real damage. The freeze is out. Live able to capitalize on the back of the frozen target. Randomizer and Ghostic getting in as well. Mini Veil is doing so much to facilitate his team here just by making it impossible for anybody to get away.
Well, we talk so frequently of how Mei finds value by walls and with blizzards, which is such an impactful ultimate. No one really ever acknowledges that her primary fire is essentially a CC. It freezes people, it slows them.
Alex
so
has the ready to go. The sound barrier out now as well. Laka with a meteor strike does some damage, doesn't get any kills for it. Will help contribute to the death of Mini Veil, but Alex are going to take themselves out as well. Laka not able to find anything with a right click, but Raph 404 more than making up for that wasted Death Blossom previously. Will find Bree. A lot of ultimates used there to win that fight.
A lot of ultimates that they're not going to have for this
That
next
is how ultimates
engagement.
work.
They have Alex's Sigma Flux up and available, but look, Slembu, this Lucio's so good at having sound barrier up and online for when the Flux comes through, and Randomizer, if they drop the bongos, no one on Diamond SR Forever is going to be able to escape the damage coming in.
Well, Raph looking to try and get a little bit of control from the high ground. Oh, isn't that nice? Raised up into the line of fire. Randomizer with a bit of help there from the Blizzard coming up from Minivale. Will find Laka here. Raph 404 just piling in those Hellfire shotguns. Isn't able to find any value with them. And now with less than 30 seconds to go on the clock and only two ultimates on the no ultimates on the field for DSRF, two for Exilia and Invicta, this is going to be a very difficult hold to break.
This is indeed a position which favors the defenders, because if you're the attacking side, you have to get through this corner where we're seeing Exilia just use supercharges down, taking advantage of the fact that no one on Diamond SR Forever, unless they commit, has a line of sight on it.
Laka tried to get in on the back there and find a kill, but gets pressured out of the way by Saruman. Minivale gets the first kill of the fight with Alex going down. Laka's going to be looking for something big with this meter strike. Will find Live the follow-up punch. Able to find anything. A lot of cooldowns invested for no real value. Not able to find anything. Throws it out of that punch. Couldn't get the follow-up kill. Will find Matzi. And now numbers advantage coming in for DSRF. Raph getting closer and closer to another Death Blossom. Will finally help take out Minivale, and it seems like we are going to get this point captured in overtime.
And so now they're going to have to push this payload all the way through C in 1 minute 25, and that is extremely hard to do. But if we're trying it, you do want to go in with the ultimates that Diamond SR Forever are going to have available. But Live just taking up this high ground, gonna be dropping in, ready to unleash those shotguns.
Well, it's going to be Raph 404 was quicker off the mark with it, but Live is in the back line! Absolutely punished, punched, and Moira damaged Orb before that could come off. In this next fight, there are 5 ultimates for EI to play with. They need to get them on the board ASAP, though.
They need to find value with them as well. Matzi pops the Coalescence just to let the team get in through those spawn doors.
Matzi's going to find a little bit of value with the Coalescence. Doesn't secure any kills with it, but makes the team that little bit more durable. Live with the Death Blossom. Booped, bibbity bopped around all over the place, but will find one. And with only 30 seconds to go on the clock, DSRF will only have 2 ultimates ready to go, and they've got to get in, and they've got to get in now.
Minivale has this. Blizzard, though, this has come up so much in conversation, Phil. Blizzard is absolutely huge, installing out points, making sure enemies can't touch that payload at the crucial time of the overtime tick.
Out comes the Blizzard, poured exactly onto point to try and make that contest that little bit harder. But we have kills aplenty for Diamond SR Forever. The Blizzard was not quite enough. The overtime wick is ticking down. We're going to see Sembu not quite able to connect, so they will complete the map. but it is in overtime. So if this goes to a round 2, they won't have much of a time bank to play with.
Both of these teams are just taking it down to the wire today. It's exciting Overwatch. I'm on the edge of my seat.
I would be on the edge of my seat, but I'm an old man and I need a lot of lumbar support, so I can't afford that. But rest assured, I am very excited by the gameplay we're seeing today. There's a lot of talk made of Overwatch League contenders being the absolute epitome of Overwatch if you want to watch anything, but there is so much entertainment and so much value to be gained in these lower SR tournaments because these teams are both fighting with every bit of energy they have.
That, and at this level we see these goofy, wacky compositions, and I think that was how Clockwork Vendetta managed to get... Oh yes, Clockwork Vendetta, the grandpappy of the what even composition.
A team so close to my heart. You really have. Can't wait until we get to see those guys play again. I can't wait to see how they've adapted to this meta, because if anybody can, it's them. But Clockwork Vendetta, not the guys playing today. Apologies for that little nostalgic aside there. Live currently showing a Sombra, Minivale currently showing a Genji. Nobody for a second believes this, guys. We're not seeing this.
It's not gonna work. We've been baited enough. We're not gonna fall for the fact that you're actually going to play a Sombra. It's not happening. Come on, Lives. Swap back to... Oh! Widow?
Well, actually not a terrible idea. See if you can get a pick and then swap up if you can't find it. Well, look, what a surprise. 2 shields there. You're not going to get a Widow headshot through that. Going to go back onto Old Faithful.
Old Faithful Reaper, Gabriel Reyes, trying to get that Death Blossom online and be a nuisance in the backline.
Charging up the punch to full. Couldn't quite connect with the Reaper. Able to Wraithform out and Wraithform in the meantime, able to find Matzy, and that just crumbled in a blink of an eye. DSRF holding on strong for now on that first attack.
DSRF proving that you don't need ultimates in Overwatch to just whitewash your enemies. They are going to be sent back to spawn and thinking back on what exactly went wrong. Matzy is trying to get this coalescence up. Surely that's going to be the opener and gonna force all of Diamond SR Forever back, but Zepturn is actually gonna be getting that one online just a little bit faster, methinks, and that might force Exilia back once more.
Well, as they rotate in around Statue, we saw Minivale looking for value there with the Doomfist, couldn't quite get it. Raf 404, with the confidence of the Coalescence on the field, will find a bit more value. Laka looking for a kill, doesn't even connect with the Minivale because the Minivale taken out by Raf 404 before the punch could even connect. Laka, did you mean to do that? I thought you were looking to get on the high ground.
There we go.
I didn't see that. It's fine.
Yeah, like nobody saw that. Definitely not us, and definitely not everybody who's watching at home. Well, Matzy does have this coalescence, and we saw exactly how it opened things up for Diamond SR Forever to pump in that much damage. And if you're Exilia, you're definitely looking for the same, but they're going to be going for a little bit of a... Oh, there's a Reaper behind the counter!
Wow, Minivale took a lot of damage. Will now have the Meteor Strike online. Matzy forced to pop the coalescence, has to pirate into the Doomfist. Meteor Strike now on the field, fails to find kills, does a lot of damage, but Minivale suffering a little bit from all the CC on board. And now an aggressive sound barrier coming out from Slambo. I wants to see if they can force just a brute force approach through this. Live with the Death Blossoms, gonna get 2. Minivale getting Rappo 404. And it took them a little while to do it, but Exilia and Invicta looking like they're about to cap point A in style.
But I don't think they're going to win this next team fight, or if you're going on the back of ultimates, then it's looking unlikely. They have a Sigma Flux, and it's going to be hard to find value with a Sigma Flux when Saruman has been able to get all of these sound barriers online. But look, Live being a little bit of a sneaky sneak, trying to go for that ninja play of the Reaper and get the supercharges down.
Oh, couldn't even get the supercharges. Zepturn with the Coalescence takes them down, and that was absolutely the signal to go in and go in hard. They lose Zepturn here, which might be a little bit of a mistake for them because Zepturn might not be back in time for this next team fight.
Definitely going to be a window of opportunity if Exilia are going to be able to capitalize on any moment. It is going to be now because that Lucio does not provide enough support to keep 4 members of your team alive. And indeed, the Orisa is actually just going to try and put that shield down by a little bit of time for the team. But this just means that Exilia are just going to collapse.
Wow, beautiful whole Gravitic Flux combo, but Saruman able to use that sound barrier to mitigate all of that damage, and it's Coalescence right into the midst of it. Minivale with a punch is going to find Alex. Raph 404 has to back out, and now Minivale out of cooldowns, has to wait for something to come back online to regain that mobility. But Exilia Invicta actually pushing this forward at a breakneck speed. It took the SRF a long time to get through this second Streets phase, so this is looking really good for them right now.
We're seeing a new lease of life from this team. Kings Row is apparently one of their favorite hunting grounds. Laka taken out early as well. That's a beautiful opener. And now if you're DSRF, you're really second guessing that contest.
Really are, and of course they have now captured point 2. They can start to roll this in. They've got 4 minutes to get to the end, and they've got both DPS ults to help them win this next team fight.
And not only that, but Randomizer has been an absolute monster on these pulls. And that's definitely one way to secure kills. Pull all of the team into a Death Blossom or Meteor Strike. We've seen it utilized in high-end play. They're definitely looking to set this one up.
You can hear them waiting for the call of the pull. But Live doesn't get a chance to capitalize on it. Doesn't actually use the Death Blossom. Will hold on to it, ready for this next fight. That's going to be 1 kill on the board for Laka, able to find Slemper, who had the sound barrier ready to go. And it was looking so good for Exilia Invicta, but DSRF able to really come back fighting. Now, 3 minutes, 8 seconds left to go on the clock. Still a lot of time. If Exilia Invicta are patient, they can absolutely do this for the time bank.
That setup was beautiful, and unfortunately for Exilia, I don't think DSRF are going to allow anything as beautiful as that setup to occur again now that they know they're expecting it. Life still has this Death Blossom waiting to pull the trigger. My eye is going to be on Raph, though, looking at the windows. He's trying to set this one up for his team before Live is able to pull the trigger.
Well, nice punch. Separated a lot of Diamond SR forever. Live has to burn the Wraith form. Will find one. Laka followed him up into the air and got punished for it. The Gravitic Flux now out from Gustic's going to find Alex. Down goes Do Senpai. Live to find Terramin now. Randomizer trying to focus down. Zepturn goes down, and that is a 2-minute 18 time bank now. DSRF will not get a chance to make this happen. Exilia Invicta only have to get 1 tick on the board to win this map.
And in 2 minutes 18 as well. And we've seen that these guys, they can take just a couple of ultimates, just a Coalescence, just a Reaper Death Blossom, Orisa pull, and make absolute miracles of them. And if you're DSRF, you have to think, okay, what do we play? What do we play that counters all of this? And unfortunately, the way that Exilia are playing, you cannot really pick any one thing that counters everything. It is going to be a mishmash of combinations, of compositions, if you want to really counter absolutely all 6 heroes.
This is really... you can sort of see that Exilia Invicta maybe had a little bit of a slow start here, but having taken the time to download what Diamond SR Forever are doing and learning how to play around them, improving their synergies over the course of the map, they have really stepped up to be a contender here. So we might be about to go to a map 5. Exilia Invicta absolutely in a position to do that now.
Map 5 is apparently the flavor of the day. Personally, I've got my fingers crossed for it, Phil. I'm enjoying casting with you too much. I don't want it to finish early. Live on that Widow pick looks, but only finds double shielding once
Still
more.
shields there, buddy. Good try. Good thought, but it's just not going to happen. You can see the golden tick there on the left-hand side. That's all they have to get to make this happen. They're going for a quick rotation through the hotel, and it's going to be Live finding Raffo 404 first. This is not a good start. The equalizer coming out from Laka might spell a hold here for Diamond SR Forever, and as we lose Slambo and Minivale, they are at least going to hold it here.
Well, if you're Exilia, though, you are looking for 1 push. That is all you need. 1 tick, 1 good push. And so this is going to be just a lot of eco pushes towards the very, very end. And then you come in with everything that you've got. I don't want to see these guys putting in ults as throwaway. I want to see them being stacked up, banked up, and then checked out all at once.
Well, Zepturn has the Coalescence online already. They're going again through this rotation through Hotel, except for Live, as having to wait and catch up a little bit of outcomes. That Coalescence we were waiting for from Zepturn. Laka trying to do what they can to sow a little bit of chaos in the midst of all this carnage. Laka has to cancel the punch. No viable targets there for it. Mini Veil going to get focused down. Slembu will find Ravo 404 the second time he died first in this fight. Numbers advantage currently there for Exilia. Invicta, the sound barrier now out from Saruman. She has been very, very good at getting these on board and charged so quickly. The Meteor Strike from Mini Veil not able to find anything. It does a huge amount of body damage, and Live is able to capitalize on it as well. The Gravitic Flux out from Alex needs to score big numbers. It gets a big fat zilch. Mini Veil able to get two now as well. The answering Gravitic Flux and the Death Blossom absolutely seal victory here for Exilia Invicta as they cap their 33.3%, and we move over to our map 5.
Well, it's definitely a sort of deja vu of the day, Phil. First series, map 5. Second series, map 5. Third series, you can bet, baby, it's gonna be a map 5. And these two teams, they've woken up, they know what's on the line, and they are bringing absolutely everything they've got.
Part of me wishes that this next one was a map that you could actually draw on, because I think we still have another step up in quality for both of these teams. Now, we saw at the start, it was definitely Diamond SR Forever who were the ones that were in control, on control. Exilia Invicta have had a lot of time to warm up since then, and we spoke at the start of that last fight how they seem to have just ramped up their quality over the course of today's game. So I wouldn't want to put money on where this is going to go, because Diamond SR Forever have the past record on control this series, but Exilia Invicta are currently looking very, very hard to beat.
Honestly, it can go either way. It is an absolute knife edge at the moment, and what I think is really going to decide, because if we're going to control point, there is one ultimate other than Hammond Mines that can effectively immediately just shut down a control map. That is Sigma Flux. It is absolutely huge in its the distance that it takes up. And so if
almost all control points, it's just the entire thing inside that circle.
Yeah, it's like, you know, those like shape games that you got when you were free. Triangle goes for triangle shape.
Yeah.
Square goes for square shape, and point goes for Sigma circle shape.
Exactly. It's I don't know, maybe even I sometimes think this about the Sigma and about the Blizzard from May in particular. Maybe they take up too much space. You can get a lot of work done with them. It's so easy just to hold people inside that massive circle, and suddenly you've fluxed everybody.
Yeah, that definitely flummoxed is one thing that can happen. But what's really going to decide it is when you have a Sigma flux up, it finds so much more value when the supports from the team that you're trying to flux are dead. So I want to see both of these teams capitalize on that fact and pressure out the supports, in particular, pressure out these Lucios, get them to expend the sound barrier before the Sigma Flux comes in.
That's one of the things that we have been seeing so well played today. And I think particularly for Saruman has been very good at generating these sound barriers and popping them at just the right time to get them going. Slembo certainly no slouch in that regard either. Both Lucio players really showing up, but it shows that maybe the target priority or even just the opportunity to kill that Lucio before there is a chance that the sound barrier can come in just hasn't been presented to these two teams, or they haven't got the situational awareness to focus down. I think maybe it's even they don't have the range to focus down a Lucio, because they're such a difficult character to hit if you're trying to land Doomfist abilities or Reaper shotguns, that it's maybe understandable why they're alive through every Sigma Flux.
I mean, Lucio is one of those characters who is indeed so hard to lock down, but you can, especially if you think about the Orisa hold. Yes, the Lucio can be, I don't know, half a mile away on the wall, but you can hold the Lucio into a position, have the Doomfist charge up that fist, and then just go for where that green orb is, because you know that that Lucio is going to be stuck in that spot. But it is going to be Nepal that we are headed to Village first, and one hero, DPS hero, that finds value on Nepal Village is May, and that is though only if you are in control of the point, because we've talked earlier on Hannah Mirror about how some crannies are perfectly shaped for that May wall. Nepal Village, the point, very much one of those.
Absolutely. It was a map that we used to see May played on even during GOATs because of how strong the war can be for just controlling your opponent's movements. And now that she's actually somewhat involved in the meta, fully expecting to see a mirror May pick coming out from both of these teams.
And it's going to be then on both of these Sigmas to get that kinetic grasp ability off and eat the Blizzard. A little bit harder than the D.Va defense matrix because you do have such a small, narrow circle for that Blizzard to go into, but it is not impossible. And I have seen a couple of Sigmas get some clutch eats off on Blizzards. Both of these teams going with the Symmetra, whether or not it's going to be to just get out of the gates a little bit faster.
Almost definitely.
Or whether indeed, because I have seen Symmetra be played on Nepal Village, because if you manage to set up on that point and have a Mei wall one of the sides and Symmetra turrets on the other side, such a pain to walk into.
Really is. Once you've set up that car wash, it can be very difficult to get anything through it. But as expected, Live and Rafa 404 both changing back over onto the Reaper. But it's going to be a much quicker rotation now for Diamond SR Forever as they take up the defensive position on the point. Exilia Invicta currently stuffed up on the outside, and Rafa 404 a nice upskirt shot there of the Reaper before we fade back out again into the safety of the team. The Hulk comes in. The Mei wall there does a little bit to split the team off as Minivale comes in around the far side. First kill going to go over to Alex, but it's just not quite enough as Laka and Rafa404 starting to get the kills they need to secure this for Diamond SR Forever.
And we have Zeptune, who has the Coalescence up already, not going to be needing to put that one in, picking up all of the kills without it. You know how Moiras are on ladder, Phil. DPS for days.
I don't know if I've ever actually been healed by a Moira. I didn't realize that was a thing she could do.
I mean, it's just a legend, right? That sometimes we see healing mists come out from the hand of Moira. I'm pretty sure her catchphrase is "one hand takes away, the other hand also takes away." But Ghostic is going to have this Sigma Flex, but we talked about it during the map break. Saruman has got this sound barrier, this beat to drop as soon as that one comes through. So again, they need to pressure this Lucio, and I want to see him going down early.
Well, we are going to see Exilia and Invicta popping both at once there. Saruman again there with the sound barrier, cancelling out that Sigma ult. So those ultimates thrown in without a huge amount of value. The Gravitic Flux is going to stop a lot of value being gained out of that freeze, though Randomizer finds Doge Senpai. Minivale looking for more targets, not able to find them. Does get Zepturned. The Hulk comes out, but too little, too late to secure much of anything. Laka gets Slembu at the back end of the team fight, but honestly, with what you've got in the point beneath you, Doomfist, it's going to be a tricky one to flip.
And now we're probably going to see Live try to set up on this high ground so that he's ready to just jump down onto the heads of Diamond SR Forever when they come in to try and get this point. But at the moment, he looks like he's playing close with his team, but he is wrapping a little bit around the point to try and get into that backline, and the Death Blossom is online for him!
Oh, round behind them so far, it only got the Supercharger, and Live coming in to show that's how you do a Death Blossom. Finding two and a construct in there. The team kill bell, beautifully played by Exilia Invicta.
I mean, Death Blossom is such an impactful ultimate if it gets off without being spotted, because by the time you see those shotguns coming out of that mist, it is too late to do much of anything. You're on the floor back at spawn. Matsi is gonna have this Coalescence, which will be up for Zeptune, so we're gonna be seeing a crossing of the beams once more from both of these teams.
Maywall out the second Coalescence there, coming out second from Matsui. Sorry, out from Zepturn, so we will have that on the field for that little bit longer. Laka able to find Live with a meteor strike. Amazing to be able to catch a target with that fade ability. Alex takes care of Slembu, and now it is all about the stall. Ah, mistimed that punch, but it doesn't matter. Too much focus onto the Mei, and we hit rough parity in terms of point control.
Yeah, Diamond SR Forever managing to just about, there we go, surpass Exilia on the tick percentage. And once again, we see this tail, the Lucio, the Sigma, similar to how we see Genji's with Zen Transcendences. One of these ultimates cancels out the other one. And again, I want to see pressure. We haven't been seeing it all match. Saruman has been able to hit these sound barriers without being pressured for when the Sigma Flux comes through. And I think it's going to be more of the same.
Out comes the Gravitic Flux, Minivale with the will find a bit of value. Looking to freeze the Sigma. Couldn't do it. Died with the Blizzard on the table. As we approach 99% control for Diamond SR Forever, they are in control of the fight for now. The sound barrier thrown in as a Hail Mary attempt to keep the team alive through all of the incoming damage, but there is just too much between the Doomfist and the Reaper and the Sigma. Nothing you can do against all that damage. Now 1-0 for DSRF. They've got to win one more map to take the tournament.
And we saw the difference, didn't we? When Slembo was pressured, when he had to put that sound barrier in, suddenly Diamond SR Forever, Alex found picks on that Sigma Flux. And that hasn't been happening when the Lucio hasn't been pressured because, oh, yes, maybe their HP has been dropped a little bit, but suddenly that's full, and not just full, it's been multiplied, because that's what sound barrier does. It makes squishies the non-squishy.
Here's the thing that I've been noticing, and it's a rather strange pattern, is that Ghostic seems to have a better rate of ult charge than Alex, and Saruman seems to have a better rate of ult charge than Slembu. So we seem to almost always have these ults coming out in pairs, but staggered out by about 40 seconds. So there is always an answer. I think I've yet to see a Sigma ult get more than maybe one kill on the back of it. These Lucios are both playing so well here.
Similarly, Matzi has actually been getting Coalescence up before Zep turn, but Coalescence is one of those ultimates where you find more value when you pop it after the other Moira, which means Zeption gets a bit of a leg up in competition.
Well, we are going to see Diamond SR Forever currently in the defensive position on the point. Raffo 404 wants to go toe-to-toe with Minivale on the high ground. Not a bad way to try and rob out some of the value from your Doomfist, but it's going to be 2-3 kills on the board. Matzi with the damage orb going to find 2 there. Exilia, Invicta taking first control of the point.
And now they're going to be able to set up nice and aggressively to make sure that Diamond SR Forever are forced to go through either of these side tricks. They're not going to go aggressive. They're going to just hang around the point. Okay, then.
This is interesting that they're playing up on the high ground, not a normal defensive position, because it allows Diamond SR Forever just to sidestep you completely and get to point. They're not opting to do that. They want to take the fight here if they can help it. Minivale will have the Meteor Strike online. Laka's going to find the first kill. Randomizer now goes down. No main tank online for Exilia Invicta. It's a good opening. Live has the Death Blossom online, has spotted some meaty targets, but gets Rock out of it. Laka's going to get Matzi here as well. Laka punches into the Doomfist, into the Doomfist ult. Minivale still looking for value, but that Moira able to fade right out the way of all of that combo. It's gonna start to see Diamond SR Forever getting the kills on the board as Zepturn finds Ghostic. The Halt drags them all together, but there aren't enough members of Exilia Invicta to allow them to do that. And with a beautiful punch, with a bit of help there from the boot from Saruman, Randomizer goes down and they flip the point over at halfway.
And that is why you do not set up your defense in a very small side room where Doomfist can punch and slam you straight into the opposite wall. And now Diamond SR Forever, they're taking the positioning that we're so accustomed to teams who are in control of this point to taking. They're making sure that as soon as Exilia show their faces, they're just going to be leapt upon by Raph trying to get this death.
They haven't noticed that he's there. Out comes the Meteor Strike, but Raph still just stood on a bookcase, firing down into them completely at his ease. Raph is going to find Ghostic. The punch came out there, but not finding any value. And that's going to be another easily one-team fight for DSRF. And I think part of that was just Raffo 404 stood up on the shelf, nobody even realizing he was there.
I mean, object permanence is a very hard concept for some Overwatch players to grasp. Not Raphael.
Well, that's right. I haven't seen the Reaper in a while, so therefore there isn't a Reaper.
Well, there's definitely a Reaper, and there's definitely a Death Blossom available for said one, but Ghostic is going to open things up with a Sigma Flux.
Out comes the sound barrier. Raph 404 still greedily holding on to this Death Blossom, is going to TP into the midst of the carnage. Doesn't even need it as Saruman secures the kill onto Minivale. Raph 404 can continue to hold on to this. We do lose main support, and we almost give over the point to Exilia Invicta. But by the time Exilia Invicta are ready to come back and fight, Diamond SR Forever will be back to their full complement of strength.
Raph's not going to be setting up on that perch of the bookcase. I was hoping that he would try and get unnoticed away with that Death Blossom, but no. He's going to be playing a little bit closer to point. And Exilia, they really do like this side room. They're going to just drop down onto point. Live's going to try and get this Death Blossom. Find some value. Wraith's in.
Like a gang of murderous Santas, they come in through the chimney. They find one with Live's Death Blossom. Laka's going to get the equalizer. Now looking for more value. Does just enough to poke Randomizer out into the waiting Death Blossom of Raph. 404, and now with the kill onto Minivale, it is Live and Sembu trying to keep this going that little bit longer. Sembu halted back into the midst of some of this damage. Live now closing the distance. It's going to be Ghostic coming back in on the Wrecking Ball, not able to keep themselves alive through this, but Exilia Invicta actually grind this out to a point where they can flip the point. Yeah, they flipped it over. Sorry, I thought for a second that they weren't quite quick enough and they gave that over. My heart was in my mouth for a second there.
No, indeed, they had that much more sustainability. Diamond SR Forever only had a Lucio trying to keep them up, whereas Exilia and Invicta had that Lucio and Moira combination. However, if you're Diamond SR Forever, you're coming in with a wealth of ultimates.
Oh, Laka tried something, and it did not work out. Randomizer just filled his head with those projectiles, and now it's 5v6 with 80% on the board. The supercharger now out from Doge Senpai, coupled with that coalescence. But Exilia and Invicta, they drop down the chimney once again, out of the way of all that damage. Out comes the sound barrier now, as well as going to give them a lot more durability. The Meteor Strike out from Minivale, not able to find any targets. It's going to be Saruman, gets the opening kill. Alex able to find Randomizer. Trades occurring back and forth in the blink of an eye. Laka with a misstep sends themselves down into the pit. Raffo 404 with another Death Blossom will get one more kill, but it's going to be Ghostic taking Alex out of the fight as we hit 99.99. It is Reaper with a Moira pocket trying to keep this going, but Live says no, thank you, sir. I'm going to get out of this with my very own ultimate. The Gravitic Flux now out again is going to help Zelturn taken out of the fight. Do Senpai very, very low on health, and we are down to the last possible map. It's 1-1 apiece. We've got one more round to discern the outcome of this tournament.
You can't get closer than this, can you? Felt 1-1. It looked as if Diamond SR Forever had that one on lockdown, but Exilia Invicta, they managed to pull it out of the bag in the final hours, and so it will be another map of Nepal, another map for these guys to prove themselves champions of the Get Good Advanced Finals.
It's so weird to think that the outcome of this shows that one team is categorically better than the other by the standards of a tournament. This has been so close for so long that there is no room to slide even the thinnest of pieces of paper between these two teams right now.
This is a hair's breadth. This isn't advantage if one dies. This is advantage if one ability is put on cooldown just a little bit too long.
We're going to see Diamond SR Forever. This is how they play. They take the point first and they take up this defensive position. Raffo 404 does manage to get some damage in, but has to Wraithform out before any kills can get on the board. Laka looking for a target, will find Matzi with the fully charged up punch, and with Randomizer down. Also, this is not looking great for Exilia Invicta on their first attack.
Diamond SR Forever managed to again cut the head of the supports off. Slambo actually going to be taken out towards the tail end of that fight, means that for Exilia Invicta, you are going to be waiting around for your Lucio to respawn so that you go in at full force, which allows Diamond SR Forever not only to get more point percentage on board, but also to just get a little bit closer to some of these ultimates. In particular, Laka with this Meteor Strike definitely going to be combined with Doja's pull.
Well, Raffo 404 momentarily backs out, but coming back in again. Laka looking for a target once more, not able to find anything, but will allow them to reposition. Another speculative punch in and a return out again. Raff 404 getting somewhat close to having this Death Blossom online. Not quite there yet. Has to come in and try and form a little bit of a contest against Live on the point. The sound barrier now out from Slambu. One of the first times we've seen them not used to counteract a Gravitic Flux. And now numbers definitely in favor of Exilia Invicta. As we hit 50% captured, the point will flip control.
But Ghostic used the Flux. A very odd placement of the Flux, especially because they'd already, one, wrested the point out of the control of Diamond SR Forever, and two, wiped most of the members off the board. And so
Look, sometimes it's
indeed-
just exciting to have an ultimate, and you just want to use it. I think that's
Some-
maybe what goes there.
Sometimes you do. Well, they're definitely excited to use the superchargers. And Raph going ham with this Death Blossom.
Supercharger goes down very early. Raph only able to find one Death Blossom. Maybe with that Supercharger in place, might have found a little bit more value out of it. Raph still trying to cause trouble, wants to get up close and personal and take out the Supercharger. It will go down thanks to Laka coming in with the Seismic Slam. Zeptem's going to find Randomizer. Laka once more has the Meteor Strike on board, ready to go. The punch, not quite a good enough travel distance from Minivale to connect. And it's going to be Laka on an absolute tear here as Diamond SR Forever come back in. And this is like 50% captured. Okay, let's swap ends. 50% captured. Let's swap ends. It wouldn't surprise me to see this flip again at 99% captured for Diamond SR Forever.
I mean, I've talked to you earlier, Phil, that I have a theory that these points, they're just giant seesaws. They're just over-glorified seesaws. But Saruman is actually in this really odd place because she has the sign barrier up, but Ghostic is 30% away from a Sigma Flux. And so you are going to have to be so reserved with how you put the sign barrier in because you don't want to put it in early only to have your whole
that'll
team
do
out.
it. It went in early. Saruman popped in the sound barrier. They think they can just brute force this fight win and get themselves to 99% control, but it's going to be Minivale with the opening kill now. Matzy with the Coalescence online is going to contribute a lot to getting kills on the board. 3, 4 down. Minivale getting 2 at the back end. Back onto healing duty for Matzy. So it wasn't quite 99, but very close to another seesaw moment on this control map.
But they put the sign barrier in far too early. And we've been seeing now teams that a little bit sliding on when these ultimates are going in. The Superchargers was put in too early. Last engagement, sign barrier, this engagement, Flux just gonna come straight out of the gate. Okay, one way to open up a fight.
Right, Live is able to get 1 on the back of that damage coming in, throws in the Death Blossom, is gonna get the triple for it. Minivale to round that out, taking Raffo 404 out of the fight. This is inching inexorably closer to last fight territory for both of these teams.
This is reflecting how antsy both of these teams must be feeling because, again, you'd arguably won that fight with Flux. You didn't need to put this, the Death Blossom in, and that's going to mean that Raph has that ultimate up when Live doesn't.
Well, Rafa 404 throws in the Death Blossom. Nothing came from it, though. Minivale will still have the Meteor Strike ready to go, but it's going to be Zepturn taking Randomizer out of the fight. First off, now Minivale with that Meteor Strike failing to find anything of value. The sound barrier once more out from Saruman will buy enough space for Raffo 404 to take Minivale on the Coalescence. Now from Zepturn, desperately looking for value with it, trying to focus down that Hibbity Hobbity Lucio before they can contest this point to 99. The kills are there for Diamond SR Forever, and now there is a Wrecking Ball on the point. And the Gravitic Flux secures the kill onto Randomizer. Diamond SR Forever. They flip the point over. No ultimates left to go. 5% and counting. Are we even going to see a contest coming in? The Reaper and the Doomfist just able to touch the point to keep this going. Live gets the equalizer. Zepturn goes down. Like able to find Slembu. And now it is spin to win from Randomizer. Live able to get 1 with the Death Blossom. Raph 404 with the primary fire will find Matzy, but it's going to be Live taking out Alex. This is trades between the 2 Reapers, and now the Wrecking Ball valiantly spinning on the point in the face of the Lucio, and it's going to be the Moira left trying to take this point. Exilia, Invicta, they flip the point over. Overtime goes down, and with a last-second recontest, Exilia, Invicta flip the point and take the tournament.
Oh my goodness. What an amazing end. We didn't see it coming. I thought for sure that Diamond SR Forever with that Sigma Flux had locked down not only that match, but that title as well. But no, Exilia, they take it back. They manage to pull through at the last hour, and they are our champions today. Phil, what a match!
This was honestly such an insane set of circumstances to win this round. We talked about the seesaw nature of these control maps, and it really was back and forth at 50, 50, 99, 99. And just the timing, the fact that Exilia Invicta didn't take the point first meant that it was their turn to flip at a 50% marker at the end of a match. And they took it on the back of that. And coming into this, we spoke about the fact that Diamond SR Forever had this perfect record. They hadn't been beaten in GGEU Advanced so far. And Exilia Invicta, with a much less favorable map record, have managed to come in and grind their way to a victory here. And it has been such a series to watch.
I mean, everybody loves the underdog story. We got to see Shanghai Dragons from the Overwatch League. We get to see Exilia Invicta taking the victory from Diamond SR Forever today. And it's just been an absolute pleasure to see these two teams just in this amazing matchup. Neither one able really to find a ginormous advantage over the other, but both able to take advantage of those very small opportunities that each provided.
And I think the thing for me that's been really interesting to watch is Exilia Invicta did not start out as the strongest team. They looked in those first couple of maps to be the underdog for a reason. But much like a saying, the more you beat them, the stronger they get. And they were able to take those lessons and turn that into a win in GGEU Advanced. And that's why people like these underdog stories. They're the little team that could, but probably should not have. And honestly, just fair play to all of them for their mental fortitude in grinding out that victory.
I cannot imagine what comms must have been like towards the back end of that fight. But it's been an absolute pleasure casting with you, Phil. First time thoroughly enjoyed.
Well,
And
hopefully the first of many.
the first of many, hopefully, indeed. And folks, hopefully, this is not going to be the first time that you're tuning in to our wonderful Get Good streams. But if it is, welcome aboard, welcome to the family, and hopefully, as casting with Phil, it will be the first of many.
And of course, if you would like to make this just the first of many, there are many more games to come. We have more of the GGNA games coming up later today. So if you're interested in continuing to watch more Game 5 of a First to 3 series, which seems to be what is on the menu today, then hang around, keep yourselves in the chat because there will be more games coming up shortly. But for myself, Big Hungry Phil, and for my co-caster, Moxie, that is all we've got time for today, but we do hope you'll stick around for the rest of today's games. Take care, everybody.